Hey Mac repairers and wannabe Mac repairers all around the world, whoever you are, wherever you are, and whatever you are. Anyway, today I'm going to be showing you how to do a thermal paste or a thermal compound change on an A1278 MacBook Pro. That's the 12-inch, that's not the 12-inch, that's the 13-inch MacBook Pro from 2009 to 2012. The one that I'm doing it on is an early 2011. They're not all exactly the same. Some of the connectors on the earlier ones are different to the later ones, namely the connectors for the camera and the screen, but fundamentally the job is the same. So before I go any further, the first thing I need to point out a couple of things, and that is the disclaimer. This is for your entertainment purposes only. In no way am I a qualified teacher or teach. I just happen to have been doing this for decades. And if you fuck this up and you put your machine back together after watching my video and it doesn't work, then that's your fault. Sorry, but you know, tough shit. So there you go. So I'm going to stop the video and come back to it in a sec. I'm going to stop it because I need to move my camera downwards to my desk so I can start the video and start the instruction. It takes a little bit of time. There are some tools you're going to need, obviously, so I'll go through all those in a minute. You're also going to need some thermal paste, which I've got here somewhere. I don't know where I put it. Oh yeah, it's on the floor. But I'll go through all that in the video. Or in the rest of the video. So without further ado, let's get on with it, whichever way the video is going to swipe. Okay, so we're back. So let's see how we get on with this. Please excuse the bits of masking tape on my grotty desk here, but that's because I'm recording this on my iPhone because my Canon camera is knackered and I can't be bothered to fix it. So, or I haven't got around to fixing it, and it's just a place for me to put stuff back. Right, so I've got the back off this A1278 in advance. That's fairly easy to do. To get the back off, you need one of these. You need a screwdriver like this one, which is just a standard, where's the thing there? Just a standard small 00 screwdriver. Any small little screwdriver would be fine. Any watt screwdriver. That's what you need to get the back off with. We're going to need that for some other stuff in a minute. You're also going to need a T6, a Torx 6. I happen to have one on here, but you can get a T6 screwdriver anywhere. You can get them online, Amazon, blah blah blah. I need a Y0. A Y0. Where's the camera? There. The Y bit means it's a 3-point, and we need this to get the battery out with. Need a Y. I think I need a T5, so I've got one out already. This is a T5 that I've got from iFixit. You can get all of these from iFixit. I don't know why I bought it from there. I think I like the look of the handle. Anyway, whatever. You're going to need a pair of squeezer tweezers. So a pair of squeezers. Any pair of finely pointed tweezers is fine. You're going to need a spudger. This is a spudger. This is a nylon spudger. You can actually, I don't know if it's nylon, I think it's more like it's plastic. But anyway, you can get these. Go and look up on Amazon or eBay, spudger. You can buy them in packs of 10 for a couple of pounds, a couple of dollars, whatever. And also we're going to need some thermal paste. In this particular case, I've got some which is Arctic Silver. I've got another one here which is thermal grease. To be honest, I don't know what the difference is between them. I've tried probably gallons of this stuff in my time, and I don't know that one is particularly better than the other. But hey, get whatever you want to get. This one, I believe, I'm told, Arctic Silver is quite good. A friend of mine uses it by the shed load, so we'll stick with that one for today. And I'll need some tissue paper. I'll also need a couple of cotton wool buds. You know, these things you shove in your ears. I'll need a couple of these, and I probably will need some isopropanol, which I've just got in a jar, which I buy a 5-litre container at a time. Isopropanol is 99% alcohol, basically. So let's get started. First thing you do before you do anything, that's weird, I scratched my head and that dropped out. It didn't drop out from my head. Anyway, first thing you do before you do anything on any MacBook or any computer, disconnect the battery. Okay, so just because it's nice and easy for us to do, we're actually going to take the battery out, so you can use this video as a battery replacement video if you want to. It's very easy. Y3 screwdriver, pull the battery off the logic board, undo these 2 screws. One's a very short one, which is that one there, and one is a much longer one, which I'll get out now. And then we'll pull the battery out of the way, because in a bit we're going to vacuum this out anyway. And then you just lift the battery up. Sometimes they get a bit stuck, so you just lift it up like so, and out the battery comes. It is a bit dusty underneath, so we'll give that a bit of a clean in a bit. For now, I'll put that on the floor out of the way, and then that bears off that bears off the trackpad, so you can get to the trackpad nice and easy. So getting to the trackpad is easy once you get the battery out, and that's just 2 screws to do that. Taking the hard drive out is an absolute piece of cake. We don't really need to take the hard drive out in this particular case. We're just going to disconnect it. So the first thing to do, or the next thing to do, is to literally go around the board and start disconnecting things. So with your spudger, if you don't want to use your fingernails, you can disconnect the trackpad, which just pops off like so. Now this cable here, this is the keyboard cable, and people just try and irk it out and break it, but what they don't realise is there's a little clip here. Now I don't know whether you can see this, but if you get underneath this little clip like so, that little clip pops up like that, and it's this little clip that holds the connector in place or not in place. And once you've disconnected that, the keyboard cable will pop out really easily. The same with this cable here. This is the backlight cable, the bit that lights up the backlight on the computer, the backlight of the keyboard. On my computer, I don't actually bother with this because I never use it anyway, and it just drains power. But it's up to you. So there again, nothing metal on there for now, so I'm going to use my spudger. It also has a little clip, so you just pop the clip up like so, put the spudger in like so, and it just pops out nice and easy. Using the flat end of the spudger, this is the cable which goes to the hard drive, which is here. In this particular case, this customer's got an SSD drive in his machine. I'm not crazy about putting SSD drives in these. There's another video for that, but hey ho. So just pop that off like so, put that out the way with a little bit of a bend. So part number on here, 820-1226. Common thing to fail. Next cable is this cable. This is the cable for the CD drive, and this is the CD drive here. So again, pop that off and bend that back like that. Next cable is this one. This is the cable that connects all of the Wi-Fi to the logic board. So again, just pop that off like so. The next one, which is a bit tricky, this small little cable here. Now yours, if you've got an older MacBook, yours won't look like this. Yours will be a big wide one. But hey ho, this cable is the cable for the camera. I mentioned it earlier. Now be careful when pushing this off, because you don't want to break this whole thing off the logic board. Because then you're going to bring it to me or someone like me, and I'm going to charge you an absolute shitload of money to resolder another one back on. So just gently ease off at the corners, like so, and it will gently ease out. Be gentle with it. There shouldn't be any forcing of anything. And by the way, I haven't pre-done this machine. This is the first time I've done this machine. Then take that cable and just pull that out the way. That will have to come well out of the way in a bit. Right, next cable, this cable here, which is also to do with the Wi-Fi. I'm just going to pull this off gently like so. And you see that's clipped underneath there. So we're going to pull that out like so. Now, we have another cable here, and this cable is the cable for the fan. I'm going to take the fan out simply because it's just 3 screws and 1 connector. and it's easy to get out, and it's just an easy way to show to remove the fan, to be honest with you. So, and it's easier to get the logic board out once the fan's out the way. So all I'm going to do is gently underneath here is lever this connector off. I'm going to have to bring my hand in front of the camera a minute. Hope you got that, but that just pops off like so. And then I'm going to take a T6 screwdriver and I'm going to remove the screws. Now, there are 3 screws of different lengths. What I suggest you do is to leave the screws in the holes they're coming out. So put your fingernail on it. Once it's loose, leave it there. This one, undo it. Once it's loose, put your fingernail on it, leave it there. And likewise with this one, if you can see this, do that. Put your fingernail underneath it and leave it there. And once you've done that, you can very gently ease the fan out of the way, like so. And the fan comes out as easily as that. Now, I'll put that to the side over here. Maybe you can see where I'm putting it, maybe you can't. In actual fact, I think you can. Now, this customer has complained that this machine's overheating. And he's been doing some Googling, and he's convinced that he needs more, needs the thermal paste changing. I don't know whether I subscribe to that, but I told him not to waste his money, but he insists, so he insists. So there's a load of dust there. Now, I don't want to be dealing with that dust. One, because I'm asthmatic and I don't want to be inhaling it. So I'm going to get my big Dyson and give that, which is this, I don't know if you can see it, it's this machine here. I'm going to give that a good old out of the way. I've got all sorts of other shit on here, hang on a minute. Give that a good old clean off. So, some guys have some pretty fancy kit for doing this. Some guys do it different ways to me. I'm sure some of you keyboard warriors will have something to say about it. You people that are brave behind a keyboard and don't actually know what the fuck you're talking about. You know, if that's the case, you can make a comment, no problem at all. I'll just delete and block you. So, next thing is this cable. This cable is the LDVS connector cable. So, literally, there's a little clip that pops up. I'll show you. This little clip pops up like so. And then all you do is you just pop this out like that. That pops out of the way. I just want to double check something. I want to double check from a popping it back in point of view because I've just spotted something. I want to just pop that back in there for a second, put that back over where it was. I want to just check something because there's something not quite right there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that can come out the way. Let's put my mind at ease. Okay, so that's got that bit out of the way. So what else is connected around the board? Well, we've got this little connector here. This is the connector for the earphone jack. So we just pop that out of there like that. Now, let's have a look. What else is connected on the board? I can't see anything else connected on the board right now, so have a good look around, inspect it. Can you see anything else? No. We do need to take out these 2 screws here. Because if we don't take these 2 screws out, it's going to be damn difficult to get the board out. This is the these screws here. This is the power in, the breakout board. So we're just going to remove these 2 screws. They're also T6s. I'm going to take them out completely and leave that loose where it is for now. You'll see why in a bit when we get the rest of it out. So let's just put those over to the side. Over there. Right, now you need to go around the board removing the screws from the board. So start anywhere you like and just go round and release them. So these screws are actually all the same. It doesn't matter where you put them back in. Some people lay their screws out to make sure that the screws go back in exactly the same holes that they came out of. Well, I suppose you should do it that way. When screws are different sizes. In this particular case, I can tell you the screws for the A1278 logic board are not different sizes, they're all the same size. So there's absolutely, in my opinion, no point in taking out the whole of, in putting the screws, being so fussy to put them back in the same hole. But if you want to lay them out in that way, you certainly can. Right, now if you look now, you'll see that the logic board has become loose, which is exactly what you want. So we're going to gently lift the board out of its place. However, I've missed something, I think, so just bear with me a moment. Let's get this up, get this up, get this up, pull this out of place. There we go, out it comes, and the board just pops out nicely, like so. I know what I've forgotten. I'm being a complete dick. I have forgotten to take out the speaker. So let's just pull this out. Pull this out. Actually, it's a while since I've done one of these, so you'll have to please forgive me. I forgot something. Take that out. Take this out, and take this out. And that speaker is actually, sorry, not the speaker. This is the microphone. It's glued in, and you just pop it out like so. Now, there we go. So now we have the underside of the board bared, so we can remove the heatsink. This is the heatsink here. In a bit, we're going to remove that out of the way. So, as you saw there, and I was taking the board out, it was lifting, but something wasn't quite right. It wasn't coming out freely. So ask yourself, why isn't it coming out freely? Have a look. And where does it feel like you've got a little bit of resistance? Don't put any pressure. And I had a look, and I realised I'd forgotten to remove the bracket that holds the speaker cable in place. In fact, it holds the LDVS cable in place. It's right here. So now with that, I'm going to get rid of the machine so the machine can come out of the way completely. I'm going to put the logic board back down there. Let's get rid of this. And now we're going to remove the heatsink from the rest of the machine. So all I have to do now is take myself a flat screwdriver again and remove these 3 screws nicely like so. Now these are held in with springs, so just be careful when you pop these off. See, they're held in with a spring. So pop that off, pop this off, and pop this off. Now at this point we can very gently remove the whole of the heatsink, which is here, it's now loose, away from the CPU. And if you look at that, that's where we are. Heatsink removed away from the CPU. So I'm going to pause the video the camera a second, so that I can nip and get some tissue and wipe this off, and then I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, we're back again. Just going to put the mic on my t-shirt. So I've got a bit of tissue so that I can just clean off a little bit of the old stuff. So just give that a bit of a clean off. That's not particularly pleasant, but let's get that out of the way. I'll clean that up in a minute. And then with my spudger, I'm going to clean off this gently off the CPU. Be careful you don't break anything here. I'm going to clean this off and out of the way. And then I'm going to take a little bit of isopropanol and just clean around the whole area, if I possibly can, with a cotton wool bud. So now what I'm going to do is I'll just clean this up. This is not very particularly great. Off the desk. IKEA worktop. Not that I've got any particular reason to market IKEA. I think they're robbing bastards actually, but hey, it served a purpose. Alright, so let's get a bit of isopropanol. Just clean that off if we can. Just give that a bit of a clean out the way. Isopropanol is great because it evaporates really quickly, but any rubbing alcohol is also fine. Just rub that off there, give that a bit of a clean. And then while I'm on, I've got a wet bud, let's use the other side. I've got a wet bud, I'll wet bud the other side as well. like so. Let that dry off. That's for rubbish, so I'll put that over there out the way. You can't see it, but it's in my rubbish pile. Get rid of that, that's in my rubbish pile. So now here we are. Now let's get the paste ready. Maybe let's bring this bit of tissue back, because sometimes when you get this, squirt this paste out, you get a load of gunk that comes out of it. What's going on here? Here we go. So let's get a bit of thermal paste on here. It's probably because it's my last bits of it. I need to order some more. You don't need to go and cover it too much, because it's gonna squidge all over the place anyway. That's probably more than enough. Let's cover the area. Then in a minute, when I put the heatsink back on it, I'll just give that another clean out. Sorry, bear with me a minute. I'll just get the thing off the floor here. Give that clean. And then the best way to do that is to get the most techie tool I've got. And the most techie tool I've got to clean this is a toothbrush. So I'm just going to give this heatsink fan or grill, which kind of like works like a car radiator but in reverse. Give that a bit of a clean out the way, so there's no bit of junking it up. So now all I've got to do now is place this back over on the top like so. Press that down so it's in place, and then slowly start to put back in my spring-loaded screws, and we'll tension them up a little bit at a time, and we make sure that we don't over tension these, because don't forget we're screwing directly into the logic board, and if you go and over tighten them and you get a bit heavy handed with it and you strip the peg out of the board, you could potentially have a completely fucked logic board, which you really don't want to do when you're only changing the thermal paste. So let's just put this back into place. So I'll just give that a little bit of a tweak up like so, and give this a little bit of a tweak up like this, a little bit. It's called FT tight. FT, the torque setting FT, it means finger tight. FT tight. Right, as you can see, I've already cleaned some of the crap off the back of it as well. So now we've got the heatsink back on, thermal paste is in place, and now all we have to do is to reverse the process and put this board back into the machine and reassemble it. So let's put the board out of the way for a minute. I'll put it over there on my keyboard. Grab the board. You can still hear me because the mic's attached to my throat, my t-shirt. Now it goes out the same way it went in, at a bit of an angle. So let me just line up the, that's why I put those bits of tape there. Fucking good idea that, I thought. Anyway, so it kind of goes in this way. It doesn't go in this way, it goes in this way. So we're going to first of all pop it in like so. Now I'm actually going to turn this round. I'm going to turn this round because it's too far away from me. So you hopefully will still be able to see it. I'm going to turn it around like that. That way it's closer to where I'm working, and I can turn the board around, and because I'm right-handed I can hold it in my right hand and work easier. If you're left-handed, of course, then maybe you don't want to do what I just did. There's a little locator cut out in the board there. This just pops in nicely down here. The speaker you pop back into place. I'll try and show you this in a minute. Whether I'll be able to or not, I don't know. So just get your tweezers. You'll see your speaker pops into that hole, and just push it down back into the hole. It's on a rubber grommet, so it shouldn't be a big issue. And now we want to make sure that we pull all of these cables out of the way that we disconnected earlier, because we don't want to get any of these trapped under the board when we're screwing it down, because if you do that, then you've got to unscrew the board again to get the cable out. Sorry about that, I had a call coming in and it cut me off. So we've kind of got this now back into place. Check that we've got all of the cables out of the way that we need. I've done it so many times. I've put the board in, I've gone round to put all the screws back in, gone round to connect all the connectors, and I've gone, oh bollocks, look, I've just forgot that cable. My favourite one to leave onto the board is this one, which is the trackpad, and it's got this really stiff bit on it here, so you can't get it out. If you forget that one of these, doesn't matter, they just pop back out in place, but this you've got no chance. So get your star screwdriver again and start putting your screws back in the same way that you took them out. I think the last thing I took out was actually this one. In fact, it was. This is the cable. This is the bit that holds the LDVS connector in place, and it also holds the speaker in place. Now I've left one screw in already. The other screw is to my left. I can see where it is. In fact, it's here. So I'm going to grab this screw. I don't know whether this is, I can magnetize it. Yeah, I can. I'm going to pop it in there. Just pinch it up. Just pinch, always pinch things up first. Don't go and whack up one side and then think the other side won't fit. Pinch one thing up first. It's still a bit loose. It's fine. You know it's okay. Again, the torque setting for this is FT, finger tight. Nothing is doesn't mean fist tight, it means finger tight. Alright, so I can now put the two screws back in for this, which is the breakout, the power in board, the DC board, breakout board, power in board. It's got lots of different names, doesn't really matter. It's a T6 head. So I'm going to take the T6 head and pop the T6 head screws in like so. Again, one side then the other side. We don't need to do it all in one go. So one side then the other side, dead easy. One side, loose. The other side, finger tight. And the other side, finger tight. Now I'm going to start putting the logic board screws back in. I'll start with one. Any one, doesn't really matter. I'll start, wait, what the heck, I'll start down here. I'll put one in loosely, like so. Now, even though it's in, see the board still moves about. So I want to make sure that all of the, if you look into the holes, you can see whether they're lined up or not. So before you tighten it up, make sure all of those holes are nice and center. Look center, look center, look center, and then take an opposite one. So there's one there we could pop in, and then once you've got that one in, we can start to, in fact, let's put this one in down here. Let's put a loose one in there, loose one in there, and then we'll put another loose one over the opposite side. We've got three screws here in place, but they're all loose at the moment. So they're still loose. The board still moves about a bit. Make sure the board, make sure those holes are nice and center. Excuse me leaning across you. Nice and center. Just hold it with one hand gently. You don't want to press anything. And again, just nip it up, finger tight. Take this one, nip it up, finger tight. And this one, nip it up, finger tight. And there you go. Now your board is in and it's lined up. So now you're just going to go around the board and put the rest of them in. Excuse me. Whoops, just dropped that down there because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. And do this one finger tight, and then do another one down here. Finger tight. Where possible, I'm going to try and make sure that this video is not edited. I've had to stop it a couple of times where I've been to get things. But other than that, I'm going to try and make sure that there's as little editing in this as I possibly can have. Now I'm going to take the fan and pop the fan back in, which still got its three screws in place. Whether you can see that, it's got one screw there, one screw there, and one screw there. Now all I need to do is gently pop that back down into place here, and you'll see it just lines up nicely, perfectly. Oh, I've got a screw left over. I have a habit of doing that, putting the machine together and end up having a screw left over. Well, that's normal. That's why I've got bazillions of screws. So, hey, if you forget, put the whole machine back together and you go, oh crap, I've got a screw, a spare, just don't stress it. guys, it's just not worth it. Just put the screw in. I've just found the spot, it goes in there. But if you, one screw won't make a difference. If you had all the screws out, it would make a difference, because the board wouldn't be able to earth. But in this particular case, it was just one, so not the end of the world. I take the backs off many machines to find that some other technician's been in there and left a screw out. Very easy to do. So again, over there we go, FT, and again over there we go, and FT. It's in. So now we're going to start putting the bits of cabling back, get out of the way, back onto the board. So dead easy. This one first. It could be any one first. Who cares which one first? Let's go back to the fan. This work. These you just line them up like so, and with your finger, because I've got really big fingers and sometimes I don't quite line it up right. With your finger, you can feel it pop into place. And again, with this one here, with your finger, although actually that needs to go underneath that hook there. So we'll put that in its rightful place. So just bear with me a minute while I just, no it doesn't, yes it does. Excuse me a sec while I just, idiot, this way. Duh. And now this pops on like so, nice and easy. This one, now when you push this next one back in, when I told you to take it out carefully, you're going to put it in equally as carefully. So what I like to do when I do this, just in case, I've had it in the past where I've not done what I'm about to tell you and regretted it because the connectors come off the board. So line it up, and if you've got two spudgers, even better. I do have two spudgers, but you can always use your finger if you have to. So I like to put something behind it whilst I'm pushing against this to push it in. In other words, I'm pushing against, I'm doing this effect rather than just pushing against the connector on the board, because you can push them off and that just ends up being a royal pain in the ass, and it ends up being costly. If you do that, if you do break this connector off, and it's about the only one you can break off, but if you do break this connector off, you've got one of two choices. You can either bring it to someone like me and have it replaced and another one put on, depending on how badly it rips off. If it rips off parts of the top circuit on the board, then it might not be rebuildable. So if it is rebuildable, you can have me put it back on, and that's going to cost you some money because that takes some time to do that. Or if you don't particularly use the camera and the screen, just don't bother. You can just leave it off. If you do leave this off, put a bit of tape around it and tuck it under the board. Do tape it before you tuck it under the board. It's metal, it can cause a short. So tape it off before you tuck it under the board. And then tape off the area where you've broken the connector off. You can always get a cheap camera to clip on your screen from Amazon for like $20 or something. It's not a lot of money. All right, so these are really easy. They only go in one place, and you'll feel them pop on. If you don't feel it pop on, then it hasn't gone on. And likewise, that just pops on. This pops on. This pops on. I'm going to come to these last because they're the hard one to do. Oh, check it out. Look what I've done. I have left this cable under the board. Now the question is, can I get that cable out? That would be really annoying if let me just turn the machine around. That'd be really annoying if I actually have done exactly what I said don't do. But it just goes to show how easy it is to do it. I think I should be able to, no, I can't. I've got to lift the board up now to get that out. So there you go. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. So I'm going to loose the board there. I'm going to loose the board here. And I'm going to loose the board. I'll take that out completely. Let's just take these out completely. They don't need to be in. Take that out. And I'm going to loose the board here. So if you do this, this is a good example as to how to put it right. Loose the board there. Have we got any leeway there? do a little bit more, so I'm going to loose the board here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one spodger and another spodger, and I'm gently going to lift the board up if I can. I can lift the board up enough to get it out, it'd be great. And voila. So now I'm going to pop that back on where it should. There you go, that's on. Perfect. Now, screwdriver. Again, put these screws back in. They're already got others. It already has other screws holding it in place, so I haven't got to worry about it lining up again. So I'll put that in. Remember, finger tight and finger tight. This cable here, the LDVS connector cable, I'm going to come to last, because they've got two other cables to go in first, and they're particularly fiddly. And lots of people break them when they put them back in rather than taking them out. So let's just put this like this, and this like this. Okay, so now these two cables. I actually have a different pair of tweezers for this. I actually have a pair of tweezers which have got a little bit of a kink in them, a bend in them. Just makes my life a little bit easier. So using your finger, line it up. You know what, this whole time I've been wearing the wrong glasses. Yeah, that's better. So now line it up, lift it up and push it in. You'll feel it push in like so. And at that point, drop the tweezers, you don't want to break anything. Take your spodger and drop with your finger and your spodger, drop that connector back over, and that will hold the logicboard, sorry, the keyboard cable in place, keyboard rib cable. Remember, this is the rib cable for the backlight. So we take the backlight cable and we pop this in place like so. Again, using my bent tweezers. Ordinary tweezers will do. If you haven't got a pair of tweezers, a pair of eyebrow tweezers, just be careful. Put that down nice and flat. Those little clips are a bugger to get back on if you break them off into a microscope. Okay, so I did say that we were going to do the LDVS connector cable last, but before I do the LDVS connector cable, I want to just take my high-tech tool and give this a bit of a clean out, the fan a bit of a clean out, like so. Okay, so LDVS connector cable. I'm not sure how to show you this. The camera is there. So putting this in place is tricky. Line it up, present it to it, like so, and then gently, you don't want to break it, gently, using your LVS connector, using your spodger, gently pull a bit in each side at a time, like so. There's a clip here. See this clip? This clip needs to come over here and pop onto here, like so. Place. So let's put this, line this back up to where it was before, like that. And let's just have a quick check around the board. Check that all of your connectors are in place. You can do it with your finger. I can see something I've missed there. Not this the end of the world, but this little bit of sticky tape went on there. Okay, just check everything's in place. That's in place, that's in place, that's okay, that's okay. That's on. Everything's reconnected. All the screws are back in. Great. So now let's get the battery. You have to excuse me while I use my Dyson to clean the. I'm actually going to take my Dyson and clean the back of the dust off the Dyson. You don't really need to see that because that's just a matter of cleaning some dust off a part. And then you literally, if you look here on your battery, there are 3 like little locating lugs, and on here you've got the 3. These are the lugs that the screws for the backplate where the backplate goes on. You just literally line them up, present it to it, pop it in place, and pop it down like so. Then you need to go back and get your Y screwdriver, which is the one with the 3-point Y screwdriver. This, believe it or not, the batteries in these can be a little bit fiddly to line up sometimes. Just screw one end in. Now this is very important not to overscrew these, because if you overscrew them, they split and they break the connector here. They break the lug. Now I have just put down the other small screw, and as I do all the time, I've put it somewhere. Ah, here it is. Got it. It's stuck to the magnetic bits of my other screwdriver. This habit of putting something down and not forgetting where I put it. So don't over tighten these. Often if you open an A1278 or the 15-inch, which is a 1286 rather, or the 1287, which is the 17-inch, you'll find that you look at it and you go and you see this whole piece, this whole corner is missing, and you've just got this lonesome screw hanging there. Now that's not the end of the world. It doesn't matter if you break these off. In fact, it doesn't even matter if you don't put these screws back in. What does matter is if you over tighten one of these lugs. This is nothing to do with this is just a part of the casing of the battery. If you over tighten one of these lugs and the corner comes off and jams in the fan, then you've got a fan that won't spin and a machine which is going to overheat. So that's why we want to make sure that that is not going to happen. Right, so next thing is to reattach the battery like so, and then the next thing I'm going to do is turn it on, check it all works. So I'm going to turn it on like this first, so that you can press the on button there and you'll see that the fan is spinning. I'll turn it around like this, and then you can see there's the screen, and we know that we've done the job properly because the machine's starting up, and it's got an SSD drive in it, so it's going to start up nice and quick. Hopefully I'm not going to go any further at this point. I'm going to do a shutdown and I'll do the rest of the work at some other point in time. So there we go. That's how you do a thermal paste change on an A1278 13-inch MacBook Pro. This one, if you've got this one, yeah, it's not a massive job to do. It's something that you should take your time with. If you get a bit kerfuffled and a bit stuck, walk away. If something isn't coming out, if you can't see what it is, walk away. Be prepared to, if something isn't going right and you're absolutely in a jam, just reverse what you've done. Go to the last point that you were at and go backwards. Undo it all again and start afresh. If you're not sure how that you're going to remember where everything goes, and I know a lot of new technicians find that difficult to remember, it's dead easy. Get a piece of, as you take it out, get a piece of paper and write down what you're doing. Get a notepad and write it down, what went where. You could draw the inside of this machine, you could draw it on a piece of paper and have a copy of it and put the bits exactly where you want where each bit has come out. Take your time. Anyway, so that's it. Thermal paste repair. Oh, just in case you didn't know, I don't know whether I told you, this one is called Arctic Silver Thermal Paste. Good luck, and please do smash the like button. I really appreciate it. Please do subscribe to the channel. It's a new channel. I'd like to get the subscribers up. If you've got something constructive to say, please do say it in the comments below. If you're a keyboard warrior and you don't like what you've seen and you decide you want to, I have a zero tolerance policy. If you're going to be an ass and you've got some shitty comment to make, I will just fucking delete your comment and block you. So don't bother. If you've got something, and unless you've got something constructive to say that will be helpful to other people, don't bother. because it won't be staying in the channel, and you won't be staying in the channel either, because I get tired of people emailing me with shit. Anyway, that's another video and a gripe I'm not going to get into right now. So there you go. Enjoy. If you have any problems, I'm Mark, and I'm from Hampstead Mac Repairs in London. You can find me by going to hampsteadmac.co.uk, unless you're in China, in which case or France, in which case I've blocked those IP addresses because there's too many wannabe wanker hackers trying to get into my website, so they won't even be able to get to my site, although they will be able to see this video. Okay, that's it. Tune in next time. Don't forget, thumbs up. Bye.